Hi, I'm Maureen Kiley, and I am the founder of the South Shore Local Directory Program, which is kind of morphed into way more than a printed directory. It's an online platform for business owners and residents of South Shore, Florida, and pretty much across Florida, anyone that wants to see what's going on here. And I created these business spotlights because I think it's important that we find really great businesses to be a part of this group to help residents find the services that they need and that they could see a video about the person behind the business. So very little marketing is ever really done to find out the great stories that we've been having in all of these interviews. And today I have Bryce Nargi here, who has an amazing business, and me being new to this area, I had no idea what public adjusting is. So he is with Bay Area Public Adjusting. He's the founder of that business. And thank you for taking the time out, Bryce, for meeting with me. And I know everybody's busy, so I really appreciate you taking the time to do this interview with me.
You're welcome. Thank you. Pleasure to
All
be here.
right. So what we're going to start with is we're going to start with just your background. Like, who are you? Are you a Floridian, which you're not originally, right?
Not originally.
And kind of tell us about what your background is before you got into this business, who you are as a person. Just kind of let people know that are watching this video a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Well, my name is Bryce Nargi. I was born in Italy. My parents are Italian. My family is Italian. We come from a little town called Castelvetere su Calore in Irpina. It's just east of Naples. So I was born in Naples myself. We came over when I was little. My dad happened to be in the United States Navy, so he asked to be stationed in Italy, and they granted it. So we were lucky to be able to be there and to be born there. Came over when I was little. We kind of bounced around the East Coast, Virginia for a little while, South Carolina for a couple years when I was younger. For the high school years, I was in Northern Virginia. I went to Forest Park Senior IT High School. Started learning about a lot of IT tech, stuff like that, A+, C+, Net+, Cisco, things like that. And then I wanted to kind of change up, and I wanted to go to school for architecture. Kind of, suited my needs. I can kind of see when I'm in a building, see what's going on with the building. Very good with the lines, stuff like that. So I thought that would be kind of cool. So I went to Florida Atlantic University for a little while. I only did 1 year there because the federal government and some of the friends that I had up in Virginia in the Pentagon found out some of the skill sets that I was able to learn in high school, and they wanted to hire me. So after a year at FAU, I decided to put that to bed, and I flew back to Virginia, moved all myself back, and I started working for the federal government for TRICARE. So I was a government contractor. I was working out of the Pentagon, Falls Church, Andrews Air Force Base, and sometimes even the White House. Worked there for about 7 years, I think. In 2012, I decided to switch positions. I moved to a law firm in DC to rebuild their infrastructure. I stayed there for about a year when that was done, and then I transferred to Prince William County School Systems, again up in Northern Virginia, and I was the lead tech for 3 different schools: the Governor's School, Parkside Middle, and Yorkshire Elementary. I had about, I think, 6,000 different units of IT underneath me, so laptops, desktops, computers, printers, stuff like that I was in charge of. And I did the same thing when I was working for the government. I did tier 3 systems. So like if a laptop or something had an issue, no one else could fix it, it came to me or our bench for us to be able to fix it, process it, re-image, anything we had to do. We were in charge of finding like 0 days and security vulnerabilities and threats and stuff like that. So most of my life has been fixing and resolving issues for people. Tickets come in, I resolve it, I can profile someone, figure out what's going on with the machine, and so on and so forth. I worked for the school system for about 5 years. And then after that, I decided to change again, and Spatial Naval Weapons and Warfare, so SPAWAR, then hired me for government contracting down in Charleston, South Carolina, near the Navy base and the nuclear school down there. So I was training down in Charleston and working with SPAWAR, being able to better defend our country here. A lot of the things that we worked on, I can't really get into too much of it, was like our medical backbone and making sure that all of our branches of military, no matter what branch you were, no matter where you ended up or what base you ended up on, you would have medical care. So having all of the data and everything there is very important. After that, 2019, I stopped working for SPAWAR during COVID. I moved down to Florida. I sold my house. I had a little bit of money. Started working in a barbecue supply shop business for a while. So I learned how to smoke meats, cook meats, anything, all kinds of stuff. And then I was
Wow.
able to teach people the same thing. So I was able to walk them through all kinds of stuff. And then after that, I just wanted to stop working there. Wasn't really working out with the business partner that we had. And for about a year or so, I didn't really do anything. A couple of my buddies that I lived with in Little Harbor, down just south of Apollo Beach there in Ruskin, they needed help writing estimates, and we had a bunch of hurricanes and damage that came through. And I was like, oh, well, here, let me help. Let me see what I can do. And this was in the beginning of 2022. So I ended up learning about being a public adjuster then. Pretty much just helping someone write estimates, go to houses, look for damage, let them know what we can do, understand the policies. I ended up getting licensed in 2 weeks once I figured out what I wanted to do for my 620 license, which is an independent adjuster license. So went through that process, and then I started training to be a PA. Ian hit at the end of 2022. We all remember Ian coming through and destroying a good part of Southwest Florida. For Ian, I actually had over 200 clients between me and my business partner at the time. And then I decided to go out on my own and started working with Bay Area. Now, I needed to correct you earlier. I am not the owner of Bay Area. I'm not the founder of Bay Area. I am a part of the
Oh,
firm. There's only a handful of us that work for Bay Area because you need to be a part of a firm in Florida. So I ended up started working for them. And then I have my business partner, Sean Jensen, and myself work together underneath the firm. And then I have an assistant, I have a whole staff, I have a whole team and everything. And I really like being a public adjuster because I did get to defend the homeowner. Okay, so dealing with insurance, you have independent adjusters, you have carrier adjusters, and then you have public adjusters. Public adjusters are the only one that defends the client and the homeowner. Everybody else pretty much works for the carrier. Other adjusters will come out there and they say that they're on your side. They're really not. Like, they're there to look for the damage. Flood adjusters are pretty good because they're paid on a scale to find more damage. But most other adjusters for the carrier aren't really necessarily on your side. So if you
okay.
get like
So hang on just a second because you are so full of a lot of knowledge. And I want
we
to
get
make
piece by
sure
piece.
you, like I tell Chat GPT, dumb it down like an eighth grader. So I want to make sure that everybody watching this understands like what you do. What is a public adjuster? What is that role? What do they do to help a homeowner?
Okay, so I'm licensed and bonded and insured by the state of Florida. We have to go through the Department of Financial Services. So we are public servants. Now, the carrier makes us out like we're not. They makes us out like we're horrible people because we defend our homeowners against the carriers. So the carriers really don't like us, but we're there to defend the homeowner. So what we do is we come in, we'll look and assess the damage, right? We do free consultations, free assessments of damage. We do free policy reviews to make sure people actually have the coverages that they need. But say like there's an issue, there's a flood, there is a hurricane, you have a water leak or something that falls underneath a covered peril under your insurance policy, you can give us a call. Okay, what we'll do is we'll come in, we do a full evaluation, a full inspection. I have all kinds of tech that we use to evaluate the home, the square footage and everything, so we're as accurate as possible, and the photos at the time of the loss. What we do with that is we provide a comparative estimate, and then we defend on your behalf, similar to a lawyer, against the carrier. So the carrier says they'll pay X, say it's 10 grand. We're like, no, your damages are 25. We then fight for the difference and fight for everything that you're supposed to be paid per Florida law, per Florida statutes, per your policy, and per OSHA requirements. So we make sure that you're getting paid everything, not just pennies. As an example, a carrier may come in and look at a wall that's damaged, and it's a small little section of water that came out. So they only want to pay for that small little section of the wall. But that's not how repairability works. Most people won't understand, okay, cool, they're paying for that small section of the wall, they're going to cut me this check, I'm good. You're really not. Repairability is usually in Florida, because of mold, is 2 feet outside of anywhere there's water. So that already immediately expands the area. Anywhere down below where the water would go, any area that's affected, and to pre-loss is to be able to put the wall back together. You're not just going to paint a little 1 foot, 1 by 1 foot section. That's not back to pre-loss. It needs to look and go back to pre-loss. So we make sure that we fight that tooth and nail in every situation that we can to make sure that our clients are indemnified correctly by their policy, not what the carrier decides that they want or the adjuster decides that they want. So most of our...
Let me ask you something. How does someone know about this? Like, I mean, I moved here 5 years ago. I never knew you existed. So like all these homeowners that go through these storms, how do they know to find you? I mean,
It's a great question because the carrier doesn't talk about us on purpose. They don't, there's no really much of advertising, and the state doesn't promote us that much. So it's like you kind of have to know about it or not know about it. I don't like to advertise that much. I usually do word of mouth because when we do advertise, we get some fraudulent claims and people that aren't, that they may be nefarious or they're not moral people. So we've had to turn down some people when we do advertising. So we do kind of stay away from that. But to go back onto your point, most people don't really know what PAs are. And if they do think about a PA, they just think they're there to try to take their money or something. They're not sure and they understand that they're in their corner, defending them against everybody. We don't just defend the clients against the carriers. We defend them against contractors, against GCs, anybody that's going to come out and look at the house, other assessors, engineers, anybody that may come out to their home. We will be there to defend you every step of the way. We're there for all inspections. You're never alone. You don't have to talk to the carrier if you don't want to. We kind of advise against it because the carrier will try to trick you and not say some things. And honestly, they're not moral. We honestly, the carriers nowadays, they're not there like they used to be. You used to have an issue, have a claim, file the claim, they'd pay you, you'd be done, they'd pay the claim. But now, ever since the delay, deny, defend information research that's been put out and given to the carriers, they don't want to pay for anything. So I kind of feel like Robin Hood. I'm here defending people against their homes to get their livelihoods back. I mean, people come down to Florida, they move to Florida, it's great. They dump all this money into a brand new home and they may not know that there may be issues. They don't know what kind of insurance that they need or whether they actually have correct coverage insurance or not. And that's where we come in. So we'll be able to evaluate their policies and be able to go through everything, show them their pitfalls before a storm happens. We like doing that because when a storm happens, it's too late. Like if they only have a $10,000 water cap or $10,000 mold limit or something that happens to be on their policy, we can't argue those off. They signed the contract to have that coverage, and are they really covered? They're not. So we like to do those policy reviews to make sure that people are covered.
Yeah, thanks for reminding me because I need to send you my policy. And one of the hardest things is finding the right insurance person too. Just so you know, I have been going through it for weeks now, months, trying to find a really good insurance company that wants to be part of our group. And it's frustrating. So anyone watching this video, you should send in your policy to Bryce because he'll tell you about what your holes are. And I think that's important. Now, tell us about the drone and the schematics that you do about the home for and I know you don't do it through Bay Area Adjusters, you do it through another company.
My home inspection company.
But yeah. I love this concept because to me, any homeowner for the price, documenting your home before a storm, and let's face it, I moved here, we had 3 hurricanes and 2 storms, tropical storms in the 5 years I've lived here. This is crazy. And so you have to be prepared. And
For
so
sure.
how can you help homeowners prepare?
So a lot of things that we do is documenting. I mean, document to show proof against the carrier, because that's what the carrier is going to fight on. They're going to say, well, show me this proof that this was done, that this was done, and this was done. And they do the burden of the proof on the homeowner. Well, a lot of times that is trying to act like the homeowner is lying. And we fight against that and defend against that. But what we do is we have new tech. So I have a 360 camera. There's many different versions of 360 cameras out there. The version that we use is with a program called DocuSketch. Now, this program allows us to go through. Now, it's a service. We have to pay for it, right? So every 2,500 square feet is a section. Every 2,500 square feet, we have to pay for that. So what we'll do is we'll go through the whole home with this. It's a 360-degree photo shoot. So if you click on that one photo, you're in the room. You can look around, zoom up, zoom in, zoom out, look at everything. So if the damage is there, we can showcase it. What we like to do with this is get in the home before the storm. So there's no doubt in our mind or the homeowner's mind or the carrier's mind about what the damage is. So if we come in before, it's a couple $100 to do the shoot, depending on the size of the home. Remember, so it goes up the bigger the home is, okay? And then it'll showcase date and time stamped, location, geography, all the GPS location. It's all in the picture. So there's no arguing that this is that home. And then what we do is we come and do a snapshot in time before the storm. Now, after the storm, we can do the same thing. Okay, we don't need to run the schematic once, but we do need to do the hosting for the videos twice or the photos twice. Okay, so there's a smaller fee for the second time, but we roll that into the claim. So it's not a separate charge or anything like that. Now, public adjusters do charge on a percentage. In Florida, we're allowed to charge 20% of any new money that we bring to our clients. So say our clients went to the carrier, filed the claim, they paid $10,000. We got involved. There's really 50 in damage. We solved it for 50. So there's a $40,000 difference. We would get paid 20% on the $40,000. Some areas for like emergencies in Florida, we're only allowed to charge 10% because you're getting hit with your deductible. Your deductible is going to be 2%, 5 to 10% of your policy. So that is a huge price swing from 1,000 or 2,500 to 10,000 to 18K, depending on what it is and the size of the home. So we only charge 10% for emergencies. Helps the homeowner, helps everybody. We get a bunch of workload anyway, so it doesn't matter. But in Florida, it's 10 to 20%, just the standard. And now what we'll do is we'll take all of the data from before and after, showcase it, put it together in a nice little package. Our estimates are super extensive. I mean, a small home, say it's 20,000 in damage, you're looking at probably 20 or 30 pages for our report. Our reports are very good. They're very defensible. We also have access to lawyers. We have access to engineers. We have access to appraisers. Anybody that you may need to defend your home, we already have them on deck, ready to go. Now, again, when someone signs up with us, it's not our claim. It's the homeowner's claim. We are there to defend the homeowner. We are there to provide a service to the homeowner. If the homeowner wants to continue with the claim and at our best judgment, we tell them, yes, this is the best judgment. This is the best path forward to get your indemnification to your house back to pre-loss. This is our recommendation. If they don't want to move forward and they want to close the claim and they're done with it, it's your claim, not mine. I have to listen to you. It's whatever you decide. We're going to give you the best information every step of the way, and then you make your decision based on your situation, what you got going on. So we're very good, with dealing with clients and making sure that their needs are resolved per situation, because everybody's different. Say someone needs to sell the home. They may not want to be in the claim for too long, because you can sell a home under a claim. It's just a little bit more difficult. So most people say that you can't sell a home under a claim, but that's not actually accurate. You can. There's a couple of different ways of doing it. I don't want to speak into that now because it's different for, I guess, every home. It's situational.
So is it only storms that public adjusters are involved, or is it like fire or anything?
Any peril to the home we can be involved with. And it's not just insurance for homeowners insurance. We do commercial properties too. We do liability as well. We do homeowners, and we can do car insurance, but really there's no reason to. Like, there's no money there for me, and if I was to go after it, I'd be taking money from the client for our car. So we'll tell them what to do, find comparatives, or take it to a different mechanic or something like that, and then get different estimates, and we'll just give them that route. We'll give them the advice. I turn down all car claims. There's no point. I just end up taking money.
That makes
it's
sense.
just not worth it. But no, we highly recommend. And a lot of times fire, they won't pay a lot for fire. What people don't understand is they'll pay for that room, but if that smoke has gotten anywhere else in the house, there's a lot of carcinogens in the smoke. Most people don't know that. So it's in your clothes, it's in your chairs, your furniture. And all of that either needs to be replaced or cleaned. And most people don't know that. So I always recommend, even if you think you've been paid enough, as long as you're within the statutes of limitations of your filing. So in Florida, if it's an emergency, it's a year. Okay, I think they're all about a year right now to make sure for to file a claim, and then 18 months for a supplemental claim. So say like they didn't pay enough on the first and undisputed, you can then go again for more. I always recommend people to reach out for a review after their claim is done. There may be more money there that they don't know about. Even a full demo. Say if it's full policy, they paid full policy across the board, there's still more money that most people don't understand. That's why we like to definitely evaluate claims. As an example, we have a claim right now. It's a water claim. It's in, I'll say it's in Clearwater. I don't want to be too specific. It's a condo. A hotel, it's in a hotel. The hotel restaurant ended up busting a line, and then it flooded down into the unit below. The unit below is a $5 million unit on the beach. Italian tile, marble, everything absolutely beautiful. At the beginning of the claim, they denied it. They paid them zero. I got involved. I argued as much as I could. I got them $850,000 from zero. And the carrier said, that's it. That's full policy. That's everything. The full contents, full additional living expense, full coverage A, full coverage B. Everything was paid. And then I'm like, no, you owe another 5% for debris removal. That's hidden deep into the policy that they didn't want to talk about. I found it, and they paid them an extra 5% up to $890K. Just as a little example, that's a $40,000 swing that they didn't know that they could have. They're still fighting that claim. There's a liability claim going on with that one, so that's still open. But there's still another $1.1 million that we're fighting for, and we're almost done with it, just as an example. Now that's a big claim. That's not always the case. So I don't always like necessarily talking about that, but like the smaller claims that we have, the carriers in Florida in 2001, I think it was, and I think they get it down in 2010. They did an evaluation of claims on their own with and without a public adjuster. So if I can, once I find that information, I'll send it over to you so you can have it. So it's a little bit of reading material. But their words, not mine. If with a public adjuster, it's 767% more indemnification on average just by hiring a PA. Now I tell my clients this, like sometimes like they're unsure if they want to hire me or not. So I tell them, go ahead. You're not going to know whether you're going to get paid more from your carrier upfront by hiring me, other than me telling you. Now, if you want to try the claim on your own, go ahead and file it. If you mess it up, I can fix it. It's not a problem. We can always come in and resolve problems, because some people want to try something on their own, and if they can't do it, then hire me. That's cool. I'm never going to force anybody to hire me. You want my experience, you want to hire me, I'll help you. You want to do something on your own, I'll give you a little bit of direction. But once you stumble and fall or have any issues or realize what you're fighting against, you're definitely going to call me back. That's something I always tell any one of my clients. If you want to hire me, I'll definitely make sure you're taken care of. There's a bunch of other people out there that want to hire me. I have 97 claims open right now. 45 of them are in negotiations. The rest are with attorney or appraisal. So you can only imagine my workload. It's constant. Every day I'm getting phone calls from clients. It doesn't stop, okay? Now, there's also not enough PAs in Florida. I think there's only like 2,200 up to maybe $4,000. I don't know the metrics, because every time a storm happens, we have emergency PAs that come, and then they leave after the storm. So we have over 200 million homes in Florida. There's only 2,000 to 4,000 PAs. You run the numbers. There's not enough of us. So we're constantly busy. I really like helping people. I kind of, like I said earlier, kind of feel like I'm Robin Hood out here, kind of taking from the rich, giving to the poor, but not really. We're fighting for policies. We're fighting for legality. We're fighting for what they bought and paid for. We forced the carrier to pay.
Yeah. So tell us about your team. Like, how does this work when obviously you're the main person on your team for going out and seeing customers, but you probably do a lot of this over Zoom too, right?
Sometimes. We will never do an inspection over Zoom. We don't think that's doing justice to the client. Now, some of the carriers are doing that, and we use that against them, and we win, especially in lawsuits, saying you didn't even do your best ability. You didn't even go to the home. How can you say that you're not going to pay for things when you weren't even there? So that's definitely something that's very important to us. So every client is special. We will talk to you, sit down, figure out what your needs are. We go through the damages currently for mitigation, for removal of any water, to make sure your home is not going to be damaged any further. Step one. Step two is gather any invoices, any experts that we can gather to fully defend the claim, and gather more information before we write our estimate. And then what we do is we write a full comparative estimate with what's called a proof of loss. The proof of loss states my claim, or my coverages are X, my damages are Y. This is what I'm asking for, and I swear by it that this all happened. That kind of starts timers off with the carriers. Proof of losses are required. We're required by the state to produce that to you within 60 days. Okay, we have to give that to you. And then we go from there to then fight for more.
Do you also get those estimates from people like general contractors and things like that? Do you find those people for?
We can. Okay. When now it's a storm, there's a ton of damage and a ton of things going on. We don't really recommend unless people ask us to, because there's a handful of contractors that I have that I know that are good, but we run into a lot of contractors that aren't very good. So I'm very hesitant to recommend out to people because of that. So I say, hey, if you have someone you trust, get estimates from them, give them to us. We'll take those estimates and then add everything else that's missing to provide a full comparative to send in, like I was saying earlier. So those estimates are important. You definitely want to get them. Plus, then you kind of know real world numbers of what you're dealing with. So our program we have is Xactimate. It is a program that is agreed upon by the carriers and by PAs and FAPIA, and a bunch of other people sit down and go over what it costs in your area, because everybody's different. Like if you're up in New York versus Orlando, your prices are going to be different for labor, for parts, for all kinds of stuff. So this program we use is an agreed upon program, and it's kind of gives us a basic price point, or like a generalization. This is what we're aiming for. These are the numbers here. This is what we're asking for. Now, if you can get lesser estimates, that's awesome. Give us the lesser estimates. We'll send them in. Especially if the carrier's not going to pay everything up front. By sending these estimates in, you can bolster them and send them in and go from there. But the issue that we have with some of the estimates is they don't cover everything. So say like you send an estimate for your roof and you think it's everything. You don't have a PA and you send it to the carrier pays it. But that estimate is missing flashing, it's missing your gutters, it's missing your soffit, your fascia. It could be missing a bunch of stuff you don't know, which is why we always definitely want to make sure that your comparing apples to apples when you're sending stuff into the carrier. You don't want to miss anything because they're not going to remind you that you're missing something and pay you more. They're like, oh, okay, no, you're done. But you're like, wait a minute. Well, what about my soffit, my fascia, my drip metal? Like, well, that's what wasn't done. Well, I need to be paid for that too. And then now you're fighting an uphill battle, constantly going back and forth with estimates and stuff. It's just a pain in the butt. So
It's pure brilliance, in my opinion. I mean, your business is just pure brilliance to help homeowners. I just love it. I do.
I do too, and that's why I'm in it. So we'll come to your home. We'll do a free inspection. We go through everything, and we'll tell you when we're there. Like if you have a little bit of damage, you think you have a claim, but your deductible is ginormous, we'll tell you you may not want to file, or you may want to file. It just depends on the situation. We'll tell you the best bet for you. If there's not a lot of damage there, and I come through and I'm like, well, this looks like previous, or this looks like that, or someone took a spray bottle and sprayed coffee stains on the ceiling, we're walking out of that house. There's no point. Because then it's just it's just unethical, and we'll leave at that point. So we're there for the initial inspection. We're there for re-inspections with the carrier, inspections with the engineer, inspections with appraisers, anybody that is needed for that claim. We're there for all of them. Now my team, so it's me, myself. I have a business partner. His name is Sean Jensen. We're both public adjusters. He's up in the Panhandle. I'm in Tampa, but we cover all of the state. I have an assistant. Her name is Rena. She's actually out of state. She was actually one of my gaming buddies when I was younger. We played online all the time, and she needed a job. And I'm like, well, this would be perfect. Can you do it? We can do it remote. I just need to train you. So she got trained, and she actually started working with me and Ian. So my team has been together since Ian. So we've been together for about 4 years or so.
Okay. So you've been doing this and you've been through some storms, so you know exactly what people are faced with, and you have tons of clients.
Sure, exactly. Here, let me, if I can get you a number here of how many we've handled since Ian, minus my new program. Let's see, 10 per page, to 10. We're up to 453 on my old, and then on the new one, we have another 10. So almost 460 something claims since Ian that we've handled. Now, some of them are open, right? Like I said earlier, I have 97 open. They're not done. Most of them are with litigation, so they're almost done. Some with appraisal, they're almost done. We have never failed a client. We have never lost a claim. And I can stand on that, swear on the Bible, we've never lost a claim. We are so good dealing with the carriers. Now, we're not the fastest by any means, but we're really good. We're really methodical. We'll get you there. There's only been a couple of claims, and I can name them on one hand, where the client really had to come out of pocket a little bit on a few stuff. But that was kind of for errors and lack of coverage on their policy.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest problem.
So do you charge to look at someone's policy prior to any claim or anything? I'm just saying, because
No, ma'am.
that to me is making sure you have the right coverage is important. And I mean, you ask different insurance people, like the salespeople, not the actual company that gives you the contract. It's like really complex, and how to set up your coverage. And I think that's important. I also think you have something that you could actually teach people in the public, like just do an event to educate, because this, I mean, like I educate on AI, right? So I'm really into that space from a marketing standpoint. So, but it's amazing what you can do with it, right? But homeowners, I mean, I'm going to go around talking to everybody in my neighborhood, and I'm going to see how many people know what a public adjuster is, because I live in Valencia Lakes, right? And there's a lot of older people, and this could be a nightmare for someone. And I also think what you're doing, the pictures, the 360, all of that is really critical, because you can also document your contents, right?
Yep. We do the contents as well. Now, our company, we can charge on everything. We can charge on the dwelling, the coverage, all the coverages, ALE, the additional living expense or loss of use if it's a rental, and your contents. But we don't really charge on ALE or the contents if we don't get in the weeds with it. So we'll give you a sheet. It's like, this is what your contents are. This is what they cost. This is a replacement section or a cleaning section. If you fill it out and do that, I won't charge on it. If we have to fill all that out, then we'll charge on it.
Oh, sure.
Some people have 100,000 in contents. That's a huge swing. I mean, if it's 20%, there's 20 grand gone for something that they could have just done themselves. So we try to show the client how they can save money and how they can do things while also working with us. And then we try to showcase and save them money just by being able to fight for things like getting their deductible back. Most people don't know that they can do that. That's a thing. especially if you're over on your coverage limits or if you've maxed out your coverage limits in other areas. To go back to what you were saying earlier, yes, we do free consultations over the phone or in person, and we'll do free policy reviews. No problem. Send me an email, ask me questions. I'll let you know where your pitfalls are. I may have some questions about what the home is to make sure you actually have the right coverages. And I'll let you know, this is a good carrier, that's not a good carrier, this is a good policy, that's not a good policy. And you can reshop for a policy. You're not stuck. You pay for the year, but it's prorated. So you move to another company, they have to give you the prorated amount of whatever you didn't use. So there's no real risk of moving around. Now, if you're in a claim, you can get new insurance in a claim, but it's very difficult and it's not recommended. Finish the claim out, get the payout, get all the repairs done. Now you're in a position of strength to go to a carrier, letting them know that my house is fine, there's no issues, all the repairs are done, everything is good to go. And that's less exposure to the new carrier. So they're willing to then come in at a lower rate or something like that. You just have to have someone that knows what they're doing, that knows how to then provide you the coverages that you need. So I can tell you the pitfalls, and then I can recommend you to people that can then try to get those coverages set up for you.
That's really good. You got to teach a class though, too.
Yeah, so we're thinking about that. So right now, the firm owner, his name's Dave Crosby for Bay Area. We're thinking about putting 3 different classes together. Classes for homeowners, classes for other adjusters or people that are kind of in the same realm, and then so that they may want to like join us. And then the other class would be, we're teaching for something. One's for clients. One's for clients, one's for education, and one is for similar like-minded individuals that want to work with us. So the main one is to get clients and education to put out about a PA. The other one is just education in general, because what to look out for, like if a storm comes, how to prep your home, how to get your stuff out of issues and mitigate so there's no further damage, which is actually in your policy. So if you got a gaping hole in your ceiling from a storm and you just leave it there, they can drop you and not use coverages or not pay you because you didn't further mitigate the damage. You have to try to keep the water out. You have to try to stop further damage. It's a part of your policy. As long as you try and made an attempt, you're good. If you don't try and don't make an attempt, it's really hard to try to fight for some damages if you're not doing your due diligence to secure your property. So we definitely try to educate and talk people through that and show them what they need to do. And when we're there and when we after the inspection, we'll let them know, look, you got to tarp your roof, you got to stop the water from coming in, get a contractor out here, get us the estimate, and that's covered. Even experts, hiring an expert. So say the carrier hires an engineer to come out and they say, no, we're not paying for this, this is wear and tear. It's not really wear and tear. I have a 3-year-old roof, I have a hurricane, I'm missing a half of my roof. It's not wear and tear, but they'll say that. So if we have to hire our own engineer to come in, it's covered by your policy normally, sometimes not, sometimes yes, it depends. Then that engineer will write and produce a report on his license showcasing, no, this is coming from uplift, this is coming from wind, this is coming from water, this is coming from storm damage and high winds. This is not wear and tear. And then we can use that to defend against your carrier and force them to pay. So it just
that's interesting, because let's just take my neighborhood, right? The roofs in my neighborhood, some of these houses are 20 years old now. Okay. But they're a 50-year roof, supposedly, right? That's when we did our wind mitigation and inspections when we bought the house. So technically because we have tile roofs, I think it's tile. And I'm wondering about that, because what would people, if you have a 20-year-old home, and you had a home inspection in the last 5 years on your roof, I think doing your little drone thing would be very important, right? And what about the inside of a roof, like in the attic areas and stuff?
We go in the attic spaces as well. Yeah. So if we notice there's damage on the roof, we're going to examine everything. We're going to go through the whole home when we're there. Like you say, there's damage on this side of the house, but not on that side of the house. We'll be like, will you please let us look at everything? We want to make sure that we cover and showcase everything. And a lot of people don't realize that they have damage on the other side of their home, especially after a hurricane. You have water intrusion in all kinds of places. They're focused on this issue, but not knowing that there's a leak in their closet. So we'll go through the whole home. We'll go through the attic, crawl spaces, anywhere where we have to go. We take our camera everywhere that we have to. We usually only schematic the main areas of the house. We don't really schematic the roof. It's not really needed, but we're up there with photos. Now, if you can see water coming through, discoloration, damage, light, hopefully not, you're not seeing light when you're up there because you want to be covered. We'll showcase all of that, show it all in all of our photos and everything, and then we send it off to the carrier to pay. We'll also let people know, like, if they have issues. So say, like, it's not storm related or it's not a covered peril. We'll walk them through how to get it repaired correctly so that if there is damage in the future, the carrier can't say that, well, you did an inadequate repair, we're not going to pay for it. So there's all kinds of ways that the carriers like to get around things, and there's all kinds of ways for us to make sure that we get them paid.
Well, because a roof is very expensive. That's why I just brought that up for a lot of homeowners, right? And so when you say the word wear and tear, so if somebody has 20-year-old roof and it's supposed to last and they've been taking care of it and they've been, doing their thing, you're saying that the carriers could come back and say, no, your roof's 20 years, it's wear and tear, we're not going to pay it.
They say it all the time. And then we showcase why it's not wear and tear and real damage. And
you have a great company.
Thank you. It's an uphill battle, though. These carriers are not fair. They are not fun to deal with. And so there's a lot of issues in Florida right now. In the end of 2022, so the beginning of 2023, in January, DeSantis signed into law and changed that there's no more bad faith. You have to go to a jury award for bad faith. So if someone doesn't abide by the policy, say the policy says you need to read them all their disclosures, you need to walk them through all their deductions, through every issue, what their deductible is, what the limits are. And if they don't do that, there's a bad faith suit where you can sue them for their E&O insurance, or you can sue them for, it's what's called bad faith. Now, before, we used to settle a claim and go and bring up all the issues and what they had in bad faith. What are you going to pay in bad faith? If you don't pay in bad faith, we're going to sue you. That's gone. It doesn't exist anymore. So also what's gone is one-sided attorney fees. So it's like David versus Goliath. You have State Farm, Allstate, some other company on here with a ton of money. They can sue you and put you in litigation for years. In Florida, it used to be if you hired an attorney and you won, or they paid something, that the carrier paid for your attorney. You should have never had to hire the attorney in the first place if the carrier did their job. That's how it was working. That's gone now. DeSantis signed that out of law in 2023 as well. I don't know if it was January or June, but you have to pay for your attorney fees now. So the only way to get attorney fees paid by the carrier is by contract law or filing PFSs and beating the PFS. I don't want to get into it or explain it because I'm not a lawyer. Yeah. I'll leave that alone. But it's very hard to defend these homes in Florida now because those two things are gone. So the carrier can do whatever they want now. There's no recourse. You can't sue them unless you have money, and there's no more bad faith unless you go to a jury award, and they're never going to take anything to trial. I've had one claim out of all my claims actually go to full trial that we had to go to, and we won. Now they're still fighting over bad faith, and it's been negotiated for 6 months, and they're still fighting over fees. So it's very hard to defend someone in Florida right now. So getting ahead of it, getting a PA involved sooner rather than later will be more beneficial for you in the long run than waiting to get a PA involved, especially because the statute of limitations went 3 years to 18 months to a year. So there's not a lot of time for you to make that decision and to make sure that you're defending your home correctly.
So what do you call this report you put together prior to a claim? I think that to me is big, because as a homeowner, we need that information, and you do it once a year. Is that what you said? What is that called?
So it's called a pre-storm photo shoot. I do it through my home inspection company. Okay, because we do home inspections as well. It's a separate company. We can talk about that later when I'm ready for that. But this is mainly focused on PA. So we do a home inspection. We'll come in. We'll just do this pre-storm photo shoot. If this is all you want, we'll do this. If you want a full inspection of your home, you want a 4-point wind mitt, full inspection, we'll do all that too. That's fine. Through my other company, not through PA. And the pre-storm photo shoot is what's going to defend people mostly. If this is what people want to defend their home, whether they want to hire a PA or not, having the documentation of what the home looks like before is huge. You put the carrier on their heels for anything that they say, and you'll call them out for anything that they're going to say is incorrect or nefarious or lying.
Well, I think it would also be an awesome thing to do prior to buying a home.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I mean, as part of
buy a home, that's part of the home inspection process, or using this. Now, a lot of people want to modify their home or upgrade or build, and they're not sure how big is that wall? How tall is my ceilings? I don't know. How much paint am I going to need? How do I know what to tell the contractor? So the pre-storm photo shoot, we give you your full schematic of your home. So all of the measurements and everything, so you can bring that to a contractor and be like, look, here's my home. I want to get rid of this wall or this modification or whatever they want to use. It can be used in multiple different facets, not just for home inspection, not just for PA work.
I think that in itself, documenting everything in the measurements, that's crazy. And you're going to be busy. You're going to be very, very.
I already am. Busy. So we're looking at hiring more people. Exactly. I need more boots on the ground. I need more people that are professional, that know what they're doing, that have the same like-minded as me and my team. We're very picky about who we hire because, we're going in people's homes. Like, this is their livelihood. We need to make sure that we're doing it correctly and getting them back to pre-loss and that they trust us and want to then hire us again. So it's very
Yeah.
important that we're not missing deadlines, that we don't miss appointments, that we're making sure that everything is submitted. Because if we miss a deadline, that'll affect your pocketbook more than it will mine, right? And we don't want to miss them. So
Yeah.
we are very prudent on making sure that we have everything taken care of as best as possible for our clients.
Okay, so how does someone get a hold of you? Like if they're interested, they're watching this video and they want to either hire you for the pre storm inspection photo shoot, or they want you to evaluate a policy, or they are in a claims process, or if they become a claims process, what's the best way to reach you guys?
So phone call or email. If it's a policy review, send me a snippet of what you got going on with your home. Send me the policy, I review it. But mainly it's a phone call. Like, it's more personal. It's your home, right? So you can call me. I don't know if we want to just showcase my number.
Yeah, I'm
or
going to
if we
put it
can
on there.
share that
So
later.
just call
Okay.
off of your card. Okay.
Yeah. So if you want to do anything that's PA wise, you can present that there. If they want to do a pre-storm photo shoot, call me. Same thing. Just call me or email me is the best way. You can gain access to me. If you can't get a hold of me, my voicemail then gives my assistant's phone number and information as well. So say if I'm traveling or in the middle of an inspection, I'm not going to answer. If I'm in the middle of an inspection, I'm not going to answer. My time is divided for when I'm on site. After that, I'll call you right back, and then we'll walk through whatever you need. And if we can get there that day, we will.
It's great. Awesome. Thank you very much for doing this. I
Thank
think
you.
you
I
have an
appreciate it.
amazing business.